let's look at something positive. Kerala has been the most successful state in India in combating the coronavirus. We are very happy to be joined by the Chief Minister of Kerala, Pinarayi Vijayan. But before he joins us, let's just see what the situation in Kerala is. Now look at that. Again, Kerala, amazing, right from April the 6th. It had really, the world looked at that and said, you've got the R not below 1. Fantastic achievement. Really, really well done. And then May the 12th is spike. And that spike is mainly because of people coming in from the Gulf and people coming in from other states. And that is a new challenge that Kerala has to face. So joining us is the Kerala Chief Minister, Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. Very, very kind of you. Thank you very much. Kerala has been the most successful example in India of tackling this coronavirus. In fact, your work has been recognized by experts all over the world and by WHO publicly. Many, many congratulations. Looking back with the experience and knowledge you now have, can you identify, say, the most important steps that were responsible for Kerala's success stories and that others could perhaps learn from all across the world?
At the outset, let me express my gratitude to the kind words of congratulations on behalf of the people of Kerala. We have been able to effectively resist the onslaught of COVID-19, primarily because of three factors. The most important one among these three is the robust public health care system that has been strengthened by the active intervention of the state in the field of health and public care. The second one is the active and positive cooperation of the people of Kerala, who, with a higher level of awareness and social consciousness, strictly adhered to the guidelines that were issued by the government from time to time. The third one is the state's early preparedness, which include focused healthcare interventions, effective lockdown measures, special economic package announced well in advance, timely assistance for migrant laborers, and the decentralized initiatives taken through the local self-governments.
Yep, sir, but as you know, I don't know what to tell you, the war is not over yet. So what are your main worries now looking ahead?
The battle is won. The war too is to be fought and won. We cannot rest on our accomplishments and let our guard down. Till every positive patient is cured and everyone under quarantine completes their observation period without any complication, we cannot assume to be in safe territory. Accordingly to the opinion of certain sections of scientific community, COVID-19 is here to stay. If it is so, we have to learn to live with it. As you know, people cannot be locked up forever. Whatever be the reason, relaxation, at least for the extent of ensuring livelihood, is inevitable. As we are aware, there is an influx of returning migrants, not only from other states, but from abroad too. Despite the anxiety some sections express, we have to receive them and rehabilitate properly, as they are the ones who toil to keep us going and strengthen the foreign exchange reserve of our nation. Thirdly, we have to tide over the economic crisis that was the direct result of this pandemic. Till now, the total economic loss due to the lockdown in our state is roughly estimated at rupees 80,000 crore. This has happened close on the heels of the two successive floods, which caused a heavy loss of more than rupees 50,000 crore for the state.
Now that you're accepting returning international travelers and interstate movement, people coming into Kerala, almost all the new COVID cases are coming from people outside Kerala, internationally or internally. How are you going to handle this new influx of COVID-19 cases?
We are well equipped to face the situation emerging due to the incoming of returnees. Sufficient institutional quarantine facilities have been prepared. Till date, 2 lakhs bath-attached rooms have been readied. All items needed for the personal use of those under quarantine are being provided. Food is being arranged through community kitchens. For those who want to remain in quarantine at their own expenses, rooms have been prepared at hotels and resorts. If the situation further worsens, quarantine alone will not do. Hospitalization too will be required. In the 1,296 government hospitals in the state, we have 49,702 beds. Hospitals are equipped with 1,369 ICU beds and 1,000 ventilators as well. 81,904 beds are available in 866 private hospitals. There are 6,059 ICU beds and 1,578 ventilators in them. 207 government hospitals have been prepared to treat those with symptoms. If the number of positive cases increases, 27 hospitals can be converted into exclusive COVID-19 care centers. 125 private hospitals have been readied to be utilized. If required, we are prepared to face any eventuality.
Right. What measures are you taking to combat? You spoke about the economic crisis Kerala is facing. How are you going to fight that or counter it?
Over the last 2 months, the economy has almost come to a grinding halt. Yet, at the national level, there has been no concrete measure to create demand by increasing the purchasing power of the people. However, Kerala has announced assistance to MSMEs, IT industries, and taken steps to attract investments apart from providing immediate relief through welfare pensions, food kits, and so on. We have brought out 2 projects, the rupees 3,434 crore Vyavasaya Bhadrata for the revival of the industries, and Subhiksha Keralam, a comprehensive program aimed at the food security of Kerala to be implemented in a year at a cost of rupees 3,860 crores. In both these projects, the immigrant returnees also can play a vital role. The fact that we have been able to flatten the curve instills fresh confidence in us. It is to be noted that Kerala is one of the states with the lowest infection rate. We also have the lowest death rate and the highest recovery rate. It makes it clear that our strategies work well. It is gratifying that despite recurring challenges, Kerala has been able to rise up to the occasion.
Now, one of the factors is that the coronavirus is a common enemy of everyone in India and in the world, in fact. And everybody needs to cooperate in this fight and forget political differences. We see politics emerging at a time like this. How important is it to forget politics for everybody in this crisis? And how important is the coordination between the center and states, especially, say, in the financing of this war against coronavirus?
We have been very particular that we should fight this pandemic unitedly, transcending the boundaries of political differences. We strictly adhered to the guidelines issued by the center at various points of time, and the coordinated efforts paid well. We made it doubly sure that politics should not come in the way of this fight against COVID-19. Kerala, even without waiting for what centre is likely to release, announced an economic revival package of rupees 20,000 crore to mitigate the sufferings. This includes rupees 500 crore to streamline the healthcare sector during the crisis, rupees 2,000 crore for creating jobs, and another rupees 2,000 crore for creating loans, etc. Now that the union government has come up with a rupees 20 lakh crore package, the government of Kerala takes a positive attitude to it so that the economy of the state gets maximum advantage. Yet we point out that in a federal setup, states have large responsibilities in the social sectors with limited power of revenue generation. Hence, we further request the centre to assist states in a big way. We are of the opinion that the package should have focused more on putting money in the hands of the people. We positively look towards it. Around the world, we have seen that public interventions are being increased to fight this pandemic. Yet in India, we see that the government is retreating from several areas, including strategic sectors. It is quite unfortunate. Anyway, our primary objective is to overcome the pandemic.
I think that's the key point, that overcome the pandemic, we forget politics from now. I do remember that when you had that terrible cyclone, you went around with the leader of the opposition to give relief to various areas. And that was much appreciated, of forgetting politics and going together to contribute and help the people. Now, can I just ask you something on a more personal note? How are you managing the stress at this time? You've seen so many crises, but this must be one of the biggest crises you or any leader has actually faced. How many hours of work, how many millions of people are dependent on the decisions you are taking every day, every hour? People say your daily press conferences are the most watched. So how are you handling the personal stress and the tension?
All along, we have been in the midst of people, like fish in the water. We consider ourselves as the servants of the people, not as masters of them. We have no agenda that is aligned to their life. So, everything else, even our personal matters, get relegated to the background, and we rise to the occasion to cater to them at our level best. What else we are supposed to do other than this? People listen to the press conference as what we speak there has a direct impact on their lives. They realize that nothing else is more important to us other than this. We are always at their disposal.
Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Vijayan. Thank you, Pinarayi Vijayan, and many congratulations. And I hope you can fight, and we all feel confident you will fight this new spike. Thank you very much.